everybody, it's Kira and welcome back to my channel. So today I have my September wrap up and haul for you guys. So I only bought 3 books in the last month, so I will do that really quickly and then get into the books that I read this past month. So the first one is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, the Hufflepuff hardback edition. So now I have books 1 through 5 in these editions, which I'm very excited about. And then the other 2 I will talk about more in a little bit, but that is Once Upon a Broken Heart and The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. These are so fantastic that I just needed to get my own copies. So I'll talk about them more in a moment, but yeah, those are all the books that I bought in the last month. So let's get into the ones that I read. So first up we have Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I borrowed this book from the library and it was fantastic. So it's only the second Taylor Jenkins Reid book that I've read. I've also read Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Forgot the title for a moment there. But this one, it follows It's interesting because it's told through interviews with all of these band members. So it's about a fictional band from the 70s, and it follows the main band members. It's 2 brothers, Billy and somebody else. I can't remember the other brother's name. And then this girl, Daisy Jones, and they both end up getting signed to the same like label company, and then they end up collabing on a song and they realize that there's a lot here that they can work with, and then they make an album or 2 and then things come to a head and the band disintegrates. It's really interesting because yeah, it's told through interviews from different characters. So it's all interviews. There is no actual like prose written into it. So there's not a lot of like descriptions or like paragraphs about like where they are or what they look like or whatever, but it's all told from the other people's perspectives. And so it's really interesting because at the beginning of the book, the interviewer, the narrator says like, just a heads up, like because these are interviews, some of these might be like conflicting stories, like the truth is not always like black and white. And it was really cool to see because you would have one character say something and then another character would immediately refute it in their next interview and be like, actually, that's not what this was like. It was really, really fascinating, and they're making a show, I believe, on Amazon from, like, adapted from this book, which I'm super excited about. I'm very interested to see what that's gonna look like, especially because, like, even though there wasn't like huge pages of prose, it was still like the story was still very evocative and the characters were so interesting and multidimensional, and I don't know, like you still really got like the scene, especially because it was set in like the rock and roll era, like sex and drugs and girls and all of that like kind of stuff like really came up and was a problem for a lot of these characters, and like how each of them dealt with the way that they created music and the way that their fame interacted with them, like how they became and just were as people. I don't know, it was just so interesting and it was really well done and I quite enjoyed the book. Alright, after that I read all 5 of Stephanie Garber's books. So we'll start with the Caraval Trilogy. So we have Caraval, Legendary, and Finale by always Stephanie Garber, obviously. So we'll start with Caraval. So this follows 2 sisters. Well, you follow our main character whose name is Scarlet, and her sister ends up getting taken from her and is made the prize for this magical game called Caraval. Is it Caraval? Caraval? I don't know. But basically there's a lot of like magic and mystery and figuring out what's real and what's not, and Scarlett's just trying to find her sister Tella and make sure that she's okay. They're kind of on the run from their father, who is abusive and just not a good person, and she ends up falling in with, I almost said Jack's different character, Julian. She ends up falling for this guy named Julian, who is potentially helping her, but maybe not, kind of trying to figure out what the heck is going on. So it was really magical and awesome And I love the way that she describes like the character's feelings in this one, because Scarlett kind of has this like sixth sense about people's feelings, and I don't know, it was really, really cool. So then after that, you have not finale, you have Legendary. So this follows this other sister, Tella, as after the end of Caraval, which this ending had a lot of like crazy twists, and I was like, I don't even know what to believe anymore. And then in Legendary, they end up going and traveling with the players of Caraval to the Queen? Question mark. The players all end up putting on like a second Caraval for the Empress and this big celebration, but Tella has to figure out who Legend actually is and has to cash in on this deal that she made in the first book. And this one, you meet a character named Jax, who is one of the Fates, and they are these like immortal beings. They're not fully immortal, but these like beings that all have like one obsession of a kind or another, and they all have like consequences for trusting in them, but they always like make deals with people. So this one was really a battle for Tella to try and figure out like who Legend is and what's going on. This one was crazy. It was a little strange because I love Scarlett so much, and you didn't see much of Tella in book 1, that then like switching to her point of view in book 2 was a little like jarring almost, but I found I really enjoyed it. And then you have Finale, which was the last book in the trilogy, and this one, Tella and Jax and Legend's relationship stuff. So crazy. So much craziness happens in this book. So this one, the Fates are starting to get out, and because of things that have happened in the last 2 books, I'm trying to like keep it vaguely spoiler free, but they're dealing with trying to defeat the Fates and whatnot. And yeah, this one actually follows both sisters, which was really interesting. So lots and lots of stuff happens. I just feel like Stephanie Garber's writing is just so amazing, and it's really breathtaking, honestly. The way that she builds tension in so many different scenes is just so incredible, and really came out in the other 2 books that I will talk about now. But yeah, I quite enjoyed these ones. I know people have said in the past that like, if you like the Night Circus, then you like Caraval. They are only similar in the fact that they both surround, like, have to do with magic and like a carnival-esque thing. But the Night Circus is very, very different to Caraval, and I would not compare them in any way. There's an airplane going by. I don't think they're, like, I don't know that I could compare one over the other and say that I liked one more than another. They're both just like circus / Caraval kind of, like carnival kind of books, but other than that, they're very, very, very different, both in like the type of book and what the books are trying to accomplish too. So just a note for anybody. And then we get to these 2. So Once Upon a Broken Heart ends up taking place like 6 weeks, I believe, after the end of Finale. So it follows a new character named Evangeline, and it ends up being sent to these northern kingdoms because the prince of the northern kingdoms is trying to find a wife or whatever, and she's just like the ambassador for the country whose name I can't even remember now, but the country where the main characters are from. And she ends up running into Jax. And lots of craziness ensues in this too. I read this in like 2 days, and then I borrowed my friend's copy of Ballad of Never After, which just came out pretty recently. Thankfully, we have confirmed book 3, because the ending of this, wild, huge cliffhangers for the ending of this one. There's a couple scenes in these ones that are so intense. Again, the way that Stephanie Garber builds tension in these, especially with the character of Jax, because his kiss is deadly, so he can't kiss anyone, but then like there's a lot of like romance stuff going on too, and so she like builds tension in all of these other ways other than like the fact that they haven't actually even kissed, and it's so crazy. This one goes a lot more, like this series goes a lot more into like these other magical histories and other magical beings other than like the fates and stuff, which I thought was really fascinating. And yeah, just really, really well done. So yeah, I read these so fast and decided I needed my own copy. So now I have them and I'm so going to reread them. So if you see them pop up in next month's wrap up, do not be surprised. So yeah, that's it. Those are all the books that I read in the month of September. Comment down below, let me know what you guys read in the last month, or if you've read any of these and you want to talk about them. I'd love to chat in the comments. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to follow me on social media, all my links will be in the description as always. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!